based on two eminently credible witnesses the whole time William was a government asset, specifically through the NYPD's. He worked with the NYPD's bossy unit. How do we know that? Oh, that's kind of dull. I don't think y'all got what I said. William Bradley was a cop.
Yes, sir.
An undercover cop.
Yes, sir.
But not just a regular cop. He was a bossy cop, and the thing with Bossy was the intelligence unit of New York, but it was described as the little FBI and CIA because its intelligence work fed the CIA and FBI, and so CIA and FBI officials were always in Bossy office.
Yes, sir.
We know William Bradley had a relationship with both Bossy and a federal intelligence agency, being that he was a Green Beret. He probably had a relationship with the CIA. He had a relationship with the FBI because the FBI detailed his every movement. They logged it. They filed it. Like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes, sir.
He was an asset for the FBI, the Office of Naval Intelligence, the CIA, Secret Service, or Customs. And I said Secret Service, not Secret Service, U.S. Customs. He was an asset to multiple intelligence agencies. Such was William Bradley. Well, I need more than just you saying that, Brother Westley. That's real convenient.
Yes, sir.
That's real convenient for you, brother.
Hey.
We got it. Don't take it from me because it didn't originate with me. I'm not the source of this revelation. It's such that it is a crime of omission that it is not in Netflix. This is my point. Because this fact was known at the time Netflix produced this documentary. And I happen to know
Yes, sir.
that part of this information, at least, was given to the producers of Netflix, and they refused to include it. For example, that white boy with the prosthetic nose in the middle. Very important. Roland Shepard. Roland Shepard is he was one of Malcolm's chief white communist friends.
Yes, sir.
When Malcolm spoke at the militant forum of the Socialist Workers' Party, the young Roland Shepard did the security for him. On that day, February 21st, 1965, that Sunday when Malcolm entered the ballroom at approximately 2 o'clock or 2:15, I believe. As he entered on 166th Street entrance, there was Roland Shepard with the Socialist Workers' Party Journal, The Militant, passing it out or selling it to those coming into the ballroom. And as Malcolm walked by, they greeted each other. Roland Shepard, because of his work with the militant, he always sat with the press. He went to all of Malcolm X's, all of Bond meetings, and he always sat in the press section. Now, if this is the stage, and you are the audience of the audience, the press section, where Roland Shepard normally sat, is on your left side, Malcolm's right side, right there.
Yes, sir.
That's where Roland Shepard usually sat, in the front row on my right side. When Roland Shepard finished hawking his wares, he entered and went to take his normal seat, where the press sit, right there.
Yes, sir.
On this day, Gene Roberts acted as usher. He told Roland, no, Roland, you're not sitting there today. We got you over here. So he brings Roland over here. In fact, the third row, the third seat in the first row. Roland says, well, okay, they must have VIPs here today.
Yes, sir.
So as he sits down, he's curious why he can't sit in his seat. I'm sorry. My hand movement gave a false impression. He came in, the entrance and down the center. Gene Roberts met him in the center aisle and said to him, as he was going to go to his seat on my right side, Gene Roberts said, Roland, you're not sitting in your seat today. And he ushered him over here. And as Roland sat, he wanted to know why he couldn't sit in his regular seat. He wanted to see what VIPs had unseated him.
Yes, sir.
So he looks over, he sees no white people, but he sees around his seat this big, burly, his words, black dude with a full beard who has a blue-gray coat on. Roland didn't know who he was. He had never seen him before, so he just took his seat. A few minutes later, the drama, the final act begins. The final act is the code name that the government gave the assassination of Malcolm X, just like the code name for the assassination of JFK was the big event. So the covert operatives who were a part of that operation, when they would discuss it, they would refer to it as the big event. In Dallas, the big event. The code name for the government hit on Malcolm X was the final act. There was a final act because there was a previous act. The previous act was, they called it the Big Bang. That was the bombing of his house. We did it. A week before. The scuffle begins. Bradley unloads the shotgun. He drops the shotgun by design. He runs out. Now, of course, when the blast sounds, before the blast sounds, there's an explosion in the back. I can't get to all of that tonight. But the explosion diverted everybody's attention to the back because the shooters were up front.
Yes, sir.
When the blast sounded, everybody hit the floor, including Roland in that third seat. Also in that third seat, also in that first row was bossy undercover agent Raymond Wood. Him right there.
Yes, sir.
Raymond, I don't know what seat bossy undercover agent Raymond Wood sat in, but we know from what he told his cousin Reggie Wood, whose book on the confession of his cousin, Officer Raymond Wood, everybody should avail ourselves to.
Yes, sir.
Reggie Wood, the Confessions of Ray Wood, I believe. You should. It's important enough where I'm comfortable plugging it. It's very important information in it. We know that Raymond Wood was in that same front row. I don't know where he sat, but we know that when the shotgun shooter did what he did, then he deliberately dropped the shotgun for reasons I can't get into tonight. He dropped it. He runs down the center aisle over to my right, into the ladies' lavatory, down the steps out. The exit. Raymond Wood, the light-skinned brother on the end, Officer Raymond Wood, sitting in that first row. Bossy sent him there. Raymond Wood is the one responsible for there being no search at the door.
Wow.
Malcolm X did not give the no search instruction. Malcolm X did not give the no guns instruction. Malcolm X had a 32 on him at the time he was killed. He had a gun, and that gun was lifted from his dying body by those who were supposed to be his brothers, but they were the Judas team. And when you see that final seconds of Malcolm's life, the clip they show, they have him laying on the ground with all of these people around him. Most of those people around him are the Judas team. The reason the shooter team could get in the front door of the Audubon with their weapons is because there was no door security. The reason there was no door security is because this brother, Raymond Wood, Officer Raymond Wood, was instructed by Boston to target the officer of Malcolm X's door detail, Khalil Saeed, a young black Arab from Libya, a revolutionary brother. He was over Malcolm's door security detailing because the NYPD needed to strip Malcolm of his security. They tasked Raymond Wood, undercover officer Raymond Wood, with setting up Khalil Saeed in that entrapment called the Statue of Liberty case.
That's right.
They were supposed to be all of Malcolm's soldiers were supposed to be armed that day, but the arms that were going to be used that Sunday were at the residence of Khalil Saeed. So by entrapping Khalil Saeed and getting him arrested Wednesday, the door security, not only was Malcolm deprived of his door security, all of the weapons were now inaccessible in Khalil Saeed's home, so Malcolm's men were disarmed. Malcolm ain't do that. The FBI working through Bossy did that. So Raymond Wood, after he successfully completed that task of security stripping Malcolm by setting up Khalil Saeed to get arrested, his commanders instructed him to go to the Audubon that Sunday. He sat in the front row. William Bradley is over there. When he does his deed, he drops the weapon, he runs out. Officer Raymond Wood, he sees him, and he says to himself, I know that mother effer. How do you know him? Officer Raymond Wood. What Raymond Wood, told his cousin Reggie Wood, Raymond Wood, Officer Raymond Wood, saw William at the New York City Police Department. And they caught eyes. Now you got to understand how Bossy works. I have Officer Tony Bowser's book account. I have the commander of that operation, Anthony Ulasewicz, his account. They both are real clear. The black undercover Bossy agents, none of them knew each other. They kept them unknown to each other. The regular police department had no idea Gene Roberts was a Bossy agent. Had no idea Raymond Wood was a Bossy agent. Had no idea William Bradley was a Bossy agent. We're going to go further on that. And the agents did not know each other. This was operational so that the intelligence that each provided didn't contaminate each other. So Ray said to his cousin, Ray, when he saw him, I know that. I saw him. The only time the operatives are in the police station, they can never carry their bags. They can never show up at the police station except they are arrested. Right. So every time Raymond Wood was at the police station, New York police station, he was arrested as part of the cover. And so he's at the New York police station as an undercover officer arrested for an operation. He sees William Bradley at the police station too. After the final act occurs and Malcolm is executed, we know William Bradley was a little bit higher than a Bossy agent. We know that. We know he was an intelligence agent connected to the NYPD, but we know he was higher than that. How do we know that? That's where we go back to our commie white friend, Roland Shepard. So now, Roland Shepard, he hits the ground, like most do. He don't see much right then. See, he didn't have much to tell the police, but they called him. No, I'm sorry, they didn't call him until Roland Shepard responds to a newspaper article that said Malcolm X, with all of his hate whitey, he gets killed by totally black men in a totally black crowd. Roland objects, said, no, me and other whites were there. So he writes the newspaper and says, I was there. So because of that, the NYPD calls him to come in for a statement. He goes into the Manhattan station to give his statement. The Irish police officers put a spread of photos before Roland and asked him, who do you recognize? He recognized some of Malcolm's people, but he also recognized that dude that took his seat. He sees him in the lineup. And so now he's a bit confused because, dang, they got Malcolm's people in here. I know how why you got. So he needs time to think about what he's going to tell them. So he buys himself time by saying to the police, well, I got to use the bathroom, may I? They allow him to go to the bathroom As he goes to the bathroom, he goes, use the bathroom, he's coming out. The burly black bearded dude that took his seat, who was in the photo lineup that was just presented to him, he passes him in the New York police station now, not posing as a criminal arrested. He's walking around with authority going in the office as if it was his own office. That's William Bradley, the shotgun shooter. William Bradley did not do what he did as a zealous Muslim. William Bradley did what he did as a U.S. intelligence operative.
Yes, sir. That's right, sir.
And now we get to this and we close. Said the Rosetta Stone of the assassination of Malcolm X. Roland Shepard's testimony, which he's been given for years, should have sealed the case. But Roland Shepard's testimony with Raymond Woods via Reggie Woods' testimony seals the case with William 25S Bradley. This should have been in Netflix, but it isn't. Limited hangout. They gave us what they wanted us to have to get us excited and directed our anger at the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
Had they given the full story of William Bradley, your anger would not have been directed at us. It would have been directed at where it should be.
That's right. It's hard.
I close